up, everybody? I'm Stella Chung, and this is the Weekly Fix, the show where we round up all the gaming and entertainment headlines you may have missed this week. We've got some wonderful confirmation news, including Mortal Kombat 12 releasing this year, plus Elden Ring officially getting the DLC treatment. In the entertainment world, Troy Baker's role in HBO's The Last of Us has been revealed, and we have the scoop on why special effects may have looked a bit off in the new Ant-Man movie. Happy weekend, everybody. Let's jump right into it.
Right, not to be outshined by Street Fighter 6 coming out later this year, Mortal Kombat 12 is making way for a 2023 release as well. Now, during an earnings call, WB Discovery made sure the gamers amongst them were sitting pretty with a rapidly circulating clip of the company's EVP of Global Investor Strategy letting everyone know when to expect MK12. Now, in the clip, Andrew Slavin can be heard saying, quote, "And there's lots more to come, including the highly anticipated Mortal Kombat 12 and Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, games also set for release this year with ambitious launch projections." Now, this is obviously great news for fans of the long-running fighting franchise, as this means maybe we can now get Ultra Instinct Shaggy to join the fray. Now, while that's definitely unlikely, with the waning interest in multiverses, if you really want to kind of continue getting mileage out of that particular fan-favorite character, well, just port them on over. Anyway, we reached out to WB for more information on MK12, so we'll wait and see what they say. And what's crazy is we haven't heard much of anything about Mortal Kombat 12, save for the voice actor of Johnny Cage seemingly teasing a sequel is in the works with a post of him chilling in the WB studio lot. And even Ed Boon was keeping things hush-hush when we asked him a few questions, and he only confirmed that the NetherRealm team is working on another game. Either way, it's a great time to be a fighting game fan with both Street Fighter 6 and MK12. Now here's hoping Tekken 8 also makes its way to consoles later this year as well. We really got to complete that holy trinity of fighting game goodness. One more thing. Actually, I got a couple. Now Nintendo is sitting out this year's E3. Yeah, now speaking to us here at IGN, Nintendo confirmed it'll be skipping the gaming festivities, saying, quote, "Since this year's E3 show didn't fit into our plans, we have made the decision to not participate. However, we have been and continue to be a strong supporter of the ESA and E3. Now that's a real bummer, because what the hell are we gonna do here at IGN? We cover E3 every single freaking year. With Xbox, Sony, and now Nintendo not participating, it'll be looking rather slim this year. Now, Nintendo doesn't have anything major coming out around the time that E3 is happening, and Xbox is hosting its very own event in LA around E3. Now, those pandemic years really made these gaming companies realize that they can be very self-sufficient without E3. Now, E3, however, is still holding strong to its June 13th through 16th event at the LA Convention Center.
From Software has officially announced Shadow of the Erdtree, an upcoming expansion for Elden Ring. The downloadable content is currently in development, but no release date has been announced yet. FromSoft also shared new key artwork for the expansion, which you can see here. The news comes just days after Elden Ring's 1-year anniversary. Over that year, it has sold over 20 million copies. For context, the last reported sales numbers for FromSoft's previous game, Sekiro, were just over 5 million sold as of July 2020. Elden Ring has had just one other piece of content added since launch, which was the Colosseum multiplayer update. Hasn't been confirmed how big Shadow of the Erdtree will be, but it will be the first single-player expansion. The next full game FromSoft will deliver is Armored Core 6, due sometime this year. Moving on, Forspoken developer Luminous Productions will be absorbed back into Square Enix to continue working on AAA games. The change will go into effect at the beginning of May. The statement reads, "Beginning on May 1st, our talented team will join Square Enix to deliver new, innovative gaming experiences to players across the globe. Between now and then, we remain entirely focused on Forspoken. We are currently working on the previously announced patch to address overall game performance. We will deliver an update soon. And the DLC, Entanta We Trust, is on track for release this summer. Thank you again for your patience and support." Square Enix also released a statement saying, in part, the merger is part of the company's efforts to further bolster the competitive prowess of the group's development studios, and that Luminous Productions is meanwhile equipped not only with AAA title development capabilities, but also technical expertise in areas such as game engine development. Combining the two entities will further enhance the group's ability to develop HD games. Luminous Productions was created largely from developers who worked at Square Enix on Final Fantasy XV. The studio was tasked with creating new games in the Luminous engine. Forspoken was the only game the studio shipped during its existence. It arrived in January to lukewarm critical reception. In our review, we said Forspoken is the sort of game you've probably seen before, from its stereotypical fish-out-of-water fantasy story to its giant open-world map full of repetitive optional tasks. It didn't appear to be a complete bomb, however, as it was the 7th best-selling game in January. Forspoken has a 64 critic score on Metacritic and a 3.4 user score. Metroid Prime Remastered was shadow dropped during the recent Nintendo Direct on February 8th as a download on the eShop, but we also got confirmation that a physical edition will be coming on February 22nd here in the US or March 3rd in other markets like the UK and Japan. Well, release day has come and gone, and some fans are reporting that their pre-order hasn't arrived or has even been delayed to as late as April. This issue mostly seems to be on Amazon, with many pre-orders delayed to March 27th or even April 3rd in some cases. Physical copies of Metroid Prime Remastered are also currently sold out everywhere else, including Best Buy, GameStop, Target, Walmart, and the Nintendo Store. This means if buyers did choose to pre-order with Amazon, they will now find it hard to come by any physical copies of the new Switch game. To play the remaster anytime soon, those fans will currently have to resort to buying the digital copy, which isn't ideal for many collectors, or they can chance availability at a local store. IGN has reached out to Amazon for comments on the delays. Moving on, famed developer Shinji Mikami, well known for directing the original Resident Evil and The Evil Within, is leaving Tango Gameworks after 13 years. Mikami founded Tango in 2010. He'll stay on for a few more months before his official last day. Tango was acquired by ZeniMax Media, Bethesda's parent company, shortly after its founding. That has put Tango under the Xbox umbrella since 2021. A statement from Bethesda reads, "We thank him for his work as a creative leader and supportive mentor to young developers on the Evil Within franchise, Ghostwire Tokyo, and of course, Hi-Fi Rush." No reason for his departure was given, and Mikami himself is yet to speak publicly about why he has chosen to leave Tango Gameworks or what he might do next. The studio launched The Evil Within in 2014 and went on to make a sequel, with both games bearing a resemblance to classic Resident Evils. Tango then released Ghostwire Tokyo, an open-world action-adventure game that still had spooky elements, last year. It stepped away from horror for its latest effort and surprise-released Hi-Fi Rush, an Xbox-exclusive rhythm adventure game, last month. IGN gave it a 9 out of 10. Wherever he ends up, we'll continue following Mikami's career here at IGN.
The Pokemon Company hosted a special Pokemon Presents event today that showed all the new exciting Pokemon games, TCG, television series, and more. Just in case you missed it, we've got you covered. To start, the Pokemon World Championship dates were announced for August 11th to the 23rd, where Pokemon players of the trading card game Scarlet and Violet, Pokemon Go, and more will compete for the title of Pokemon Master in Yokohama, Japan. Speaking of the TCG, a new version of the original Pokemon trading card game's base set was announced in the form of the Pokemon Trading Card Game Classic. There wasn't too much information about this, but it seems to be a one-off purchase, like a board game with Pokemon card decks and game board and pieces included. Pokemon Concierge was announced as a stop-motion animation series coming to Netflix featuring Haru, the concierge of the Pokemon Resort, and her Pokemon partner Psyduck. We don't have many details on this new series, but Pokemon Concierge will be an original story and looks to be pretty lighthearted and bright. Also, Psyduck as a concierge helper, that sounds adorable. The legendary Pokemon Zacian is coming to Pokemon Unite, and there will be a special Zacian's Wheeled event where players can pick up a gold Zacian boost emblem using the gift code PokeMonday. Pokemon Cafe Remix is getting DLC based off of Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, as the 3 starter Pokemon Sprigatito, Fuecoco, and Quaxly are coming to the game. In Pokemon Masters EX, 6 new classic Pokemon trainers are appearing in a rally. Then Pokemon Sleep was re-revealed during this event with a release window of this summer in 2023. So this will track your sleeping patterns and aim to turn sleeping into entertainment by having a player's time spent sleeping and the time they wake up affect the gameplay. In addition to Sleep, Pokemon Go++ was announced as an addition to Pokemon Sleep and Pokemon Go, which is a new device that works with both games. It features a singing Pikachu inside the gadget that will sing lullabies and let players catch Pokemon and spin Pokestops automatically. Then, finally, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet expansions were announced to arrive starting fall 2023. The first expansion is the Teal Mask, where players will visit an area beyond the Paldea region called Kitakami. The second expansion, releasing winter 2023, is the Indigo Disc, which has players attending Blueberry Academy as an exchange student. And the Walking Wake and Iron Leaves Terra raid battles are available now in Scarlet and Violet, respectively.
The Outer Worlds Spacer's Choice Edition has officially been announced, bringing an improved version of the sci-fi RPG to PS5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC March 7th, 2023. I loved The Outer Worlds, especially since it was made by Fallout New Vegas' Obsidian Entertainment, and it reflected a Fallout game, but in space. The Outer Worlds Spacer's Choice Edition includes the base game and both DLCs, Murder on Eridanos and Peril of Gorgon. This also comes with higher resolution graphics, a dynamic weather system, overhauled lighting and environments, improved performance and load times, enhanced details on characters, an increased level cap, and much more. And if you already own The Outer Worlds and its DLCs for Xbox One, PS4, or PC, you can upgrade to the Spacer's Choice Edition on the same console or PC store for $9.99. But if this is your first time purchasing the game, it'll cost $59.99. I honestly loved this game, so if you're able to, I'd highly recommend giving The Outer Worlds a chance, especially with this updated version.
All right, well, it's time for a Star Wars celebration, y'all, with Lucasfilm teaming up with Xbox to bring us Mandalorian-themed consoles and controllers. Now, with the return of Mando to Disney+, Xbox is giving us special editions of the Series X and S with various Mandalorian characters featured, like this really cool green controller that rests inside of a Sherpa hoodie, similar to Grogu. Now, you can also get this Baby Yoda illustrated on the side of your Series S. Now, they're all really cool designs that you can't purchase in any store, so that really sucks. But you can enter for a chance to win one of these items by tweeting the hashtag #TheMandalorianSweepstakes. I personally hate that this is a contest because if you actually sold these freaking items in a store or online, we'd all have a better chance at owning one of these cool items. But if you like to roll the dice, you have until May 11th to enter for a chance to win instead of just owning it. Outright, whatever. I personally wouldn't bother, as this is nothing more than a publicity stunt to generate online interest for the series. Just go watch The Mandalorian on Disney Plus and find someone on Etsy who can do a custom paint job on either your Series X or S. Now, in other news, the Microsoft team visited famed game designer Hideo Kojima at his office. Well, it's so cool! Now, Kojima tweeted out these series of pictures where the famed Death Stranding creator can be seen shaking hands, putting his hands in his pockets, and not using his hands to touch this here plate of untouched food, because it's not touched by his hands, it's just left there idling on a large table. That's weird. What does this all mean, though, you're probably asking? Well, both Xbox and Kojima Productions have partnered to work on an Untitled game, so the Xbox team could have been invited to chat further about the upcoming game project. Now, as is typical with Kojima, it's all a mystery till he's ready to pull back the veil. But if you want to see something else from this whole encounter, here's the VP of Xbox Games Marketing meeting with Kojima for the very first time.
Nice to meet you.
I don't think I've ever recorded myself just meeting someone for the first time. That's kind of weird, but it is also cool in a sense. Especially that mirror that makes it look like the room moves further along. It's pretty awesome. Good on you, Kojima.
It's time to take a quick break. When we come back, we may have gotten confirmation on certain heroes appearing in the next Avengers movie. Plus, Troy Baker has finally made his HBO Last of Us appearance. See you in a bit. Welcome back. Video effect artists on Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania have revealed why the film may have had some choppy-looking moments. But first, Troy Baker, the original voice for Joel in the Last of Us games, is making his appearance in HBO's live-action series. Let's find out some more on this.
All right, now the voice of Joel is finally coming to HBO's The Last of Us series. The legendary voice actor Troy Baker is set to make his live-action debut in the hit series, as revealed in the teaser for episode 8. Now, the upcoming episode will see the introduction of David and his group, which fans of the video game series might remember from Part 1's Winter section. Now, David and his group are cannibals who Ellie runs into. Now, as for who Troy Baker is playing, it's likely James, the character that accompanies David when you first encounter him in the game. An interesting tidbit, the voice actor for James in the game was Ruben Langdon, who voiced both Ken from Street Fighter and Dante from Devil May Cry. Now, Troy is a master impressionist, so it'll be interesting to see his take on James. Like, will it be a pitch-perfect recreation, or will he showcase his acting chops to reinterpret the character in his own way? We'll have to wait and find out soon. Now, it's rather interesting to see this is the direction the writers have decided to go with Troy's inclusion in the live-action series, as this particular character is a far cry away from the heroic efforts of Joel, who he voiced in the video games. Now, as for Ashley Johnson, who voices Ellie in the video games, we've yet to see her make an appearance. But as Neil Druckmann teased roughly about a year ago, she and Troy will both be taking on surprising roles in the live-action series. Now, with Troy Baker being one of the antagonists in David's cannibalistic group, who do you think Ashley might portray? Like, we've only got a few more episodes left in this season, so her cameo appearance is definitely coming up. I remember seeing fans speculating about Troy Baker might be playing Joel's brother or maybe Abby's father to have him play a more significant role in the live-action series. Now that we know who he is, and if you've played the video game, you already know the outcome of that character as we head into episode 8 of HBO's The Last of Us. But I'm curious to know, who do you think Ashley Johnson might portray in the upcoming episodes? Comment down below and let's discuss. Now, from one Pedro Pascal series to another, The Mandalorian might not be as buttoned up as The Last of Us, with co-creator Jon Favreau stating he doesn't have an ending for the series yet. Now, when asked in an interview with Total Film if he has an ending plotted out for the series, he said, quote, "No, I don't. I think the beauty of this is that it's a middle chapter of a much larger story. And though we'll have resolution over time with these characters, I think that how these characters fit into the larger scope and scale, but it's not like there's a finale that we're building to that I have in mind. And it seems the story of Mando will keep going on well past season 3, as Favreau confirmed season 4 is already written. Now, as long as the force and viewership is strong with this one, why not keep going? And speaking of keep going, Pokemon is one franchise that'll never stop unless it's in motion. And with the latest partnership with Netflix, Stop Motion is the game in Pokemon Concierge, the new series coming to Netflix thanks to a collab with the Pokemon Company. Now, this series will take place on a Pokemon resort following a concierge who will undoubtedly have unique interactions with the various Pokemon who will occupy the beachside resort. Now, with Ash Ketchum retiring from the Pokemon game, it's nice to see the company experimenting with new mediums to try and find another human protagonist for Poke fans to latch on to. Now, no release date just yet, but look forward to it real soon. Now, according to a few anonymous VFX artists that worked on Marvel Studios' Quantumania, the reason some of the special effects look supposedly bad in these films is because of budget issues. Yeah, now speaking with Vulture, these anonymous sources went into detail about how there's a priority list when it comes to MCU movies, saying, quote, "In terms of priority, Wakanda Forever was definitely at the top of the list. All the money went to that. All the best resources went to that. It's understandable given the context with Chadwick Boseman and everything and how well the first film did, but it did diminish the ability to carry Ant-Man all the way through. So it kinda explains why MODOK looked comically bad. But then again, it's just a large floating head attached to legs and arms, so really not much to work with in that department. There was a lot of juicy bits from this particular article, like one of the Marvel Studios artists stating that there were a lot of editorial changes and they couldn't show much in terms of effects due to the lack of time they had to render everything. Now, one person even complained about there being enough money deep in those Disney pockets, so why aren't they paying for more VFX people? Well, they equated it to human greed. Now, apparently, if the executives on top can save a few bucks, then why not let those VFX artists work with limited resources until burnout? Yikes. And finally, one Quantumania VFX artist claimed the team was working under less than ideal working conditions in comparison to other places in the VFX industry. That's really a damn shame to hear all of that, but honestly, not too surprising. Like, taking a look at some of Marvel Studios' previous productions, you can visibly tell which projects had enough time in the visual effects department to fine-tune the looks of certain CGI-intensive scenes. And after the internet complained about the VFX in the She-Hulk trailer, Marvel Studios went right back to the drawing board to tweak things here and there before its premiere on Disney+. Now, this will likely be a concern that we'll see in future Marvel movies and shows, so there's not much we can do about it with those at the top making these kinds of decisions. But I'd love to know your thoughts on all of this. How do you think we can get back to making strong visual effects in these big budget Marvel movies and shows? Comment down below and let's discuss. Now, one thing Marvel can't make look bad is its comics, and it's looking like we'll be seeing the return of Marvel's Ultimate Universe. Now, writer Jonathan Hickman is teaming up with artist Brian Hitch to bring us back into the Ultimates world with Ultimate Invasion, a new 4-issue series. Now, this will be somewhat of a continuation of what Hickman ended 8 years ago, as Marvel's Ultimate Universe was killed off in the Secret Wars story arc. Now, this new story will center around Miles Morales and the Maker, aka Reed Richards, as the lone survivors of their destroyed Ultimate Universe who now live in Marvel's Prime comic book universe. Check it out when it drops in June. Alright, believe it or not, we're getting even more Lord of the Rings. This time, it'll see a return to the big screen. Now, during a WB Discovery earnings call, it was announced that Warner Brothers struck a multi-year deal with Embracer Group AB to adapt movies based on Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit. Now, CEO David Zaslav stated that it'll be multiple films based on the iconic series of books, which isn't a surprise given how successful the first series of movies were with Peter Jackson at the helm. Now, Zaslav has stated in the past how he wanted the company to focus more on franchises, so returning to the Rings and Hobbits is a solid move. Now, the characters and stories that can be told within Middle-earth are quite expansive, and there's certainly more that can be explored within the pages of Tolkien's books. Now, WB is set to handle things on the big screen, with Amazon owning the TV rights. Now, Prime Video already has one of a planned 5 seasons of The Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power, out for fans to watch right now. Now, as for those upcoming movies from WB Discovery, we'll have to wait and see what stories they'll weave. Now, more importantly, who will be attached to write and direct? Now, do you think Peter Jackson might return? Should there even be any more Lord of the Rings and Hobbit movies? Sound off down below and let's discuss. Now, one thing there probably shouldn't be any more of is adaptations based on Stephen King's It franchise. Yeah, now HBO Max is set to bring us a prequel series that'll expand the terrifying world contained within the pages of the novel with Welcome to Derry. Now, Andy and Barbara Muschietti are returning to the franchise to develop the series for the streaming service, and Stephen King couldn't be more happy. Now, he spoke about his excitement towards this expansion of the series, knowing that it'll be in good hands with Andy Muschietti overseeing production. Now, not much is known about the upcoming prequel series, but, since it is in fact a prequel, one can only speculate that it'll either be based on Pennywise's earlier years tormenting Derry, or those meddling kids before, that one kid lost his paper boat.
Take it, Georgie.
All right, we might have gotten a bit of a tease as to what we can expect from Avengers: The Kang Dynasty, or should I say, who? Now, according to Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania screenwriter Jeff Loveness, a few Disney Plus heroes might be coming to the big screen. Now, speaking with Polygon, Loveness talked about what odds these heroes might have going up against Kang, saying, quote, "I wish Hawkeye a lot of luck against the Kangs. I'm sure Daredevil and Moon Knight are gonna be great against those guys." Now, based on that particular statement, it might suggest that Moon Man, Bird Brain, and that Red Devil Man might be going up against a few of the Kang variants come Kang Dynasty. Now, of course, Loveness's comments should be taken with a grain of salt, as it could just be a pipe dream of his to see these characters go up against Kang. Although, it's more than likely we'll see that Hawkman make an appearance, as he is in fact an Avenger. And the blind lawyer guy, we saw him appear in No Way Home. He made his big screen debut there. Yeah. Now, the Moon Man, however, might be a bit of a stretch. Oscar Isaac's a busy guy these days, but it'd be a shame for him to be introduced in his very own series, not to have some sort of expansive role in the larger MCU. Now, my apologies for purposely butchering their names, but y'all know who I'm talking about. I don't need to know them. I kind of do, but whatever. Anyways, Jeff Loveness is also writing the script for Avengers: The Kang Dynasty, so maybe he'll be able to write in those 3 characters. Now, one character we know Jeff might be writing into Avengers 5 is the fish man himself. He appeared in Wakanda Forever, Namor. Yeah, he's a fish man with the little ankle wings. Y'all know who I'm talking about. It's weird. Anyways, while speaking with comicbook.com, Loveness exclaimed that he's excited to write for Namor, which means we could see the underwater mutant resurface in Avengers 5. It's exciting stuff coming to Phase 5 if you still get excited for Marvel movies these days. Right now, one thing that's been less than exciting are the reviews for Ant-Man 3. Now, writer Jeff Loveness lamented the reviews while talking to the Daily Beast, saying, quote, "To be honest, those reviews took me by surprise. I was in a pretty low spot. Those were not good reviews." And I was like, what the question mark? He went on to say, quote, "I thought that was good stuff, you know, and so I was just despondent and I was really sad about it." I'm like, God damn, no, the reviews are wrong. Damn, Jeff, calm down, my guy. Now, look, Jeff, it's fine. Lots of creators take criticism for their work very seriously, and while you might think it was good, your work, seen through the eyes of others, it'll be interpreted differently. It happens. You'll get them next time. Or not, they might hate your other work too. And finally, give me a wahoo in the comments section because the Mario movie received a bump in the release date. Yes. Instead of April 7th, the film will be coming out April 5th in the US and 60 other markets worldwide. Now, this definitely speaks to the confidence the studio and Nintendo have in the upcoming Mario movie, so get your plungers ready to Mario Shuffle into theaters April 5th.
I'm Stella Chung, and that was your Weekly Fix. We'll be back here next Saturday with more of the biggest gaming and entertainment news of the week. See you then.